Hello and welcome to my channel on Ancient in Chinese Astrology. I am professional astrologer Alex Zagata, and this is my YouTube channel. This is my website on Ancient in Chinese Astrology, 100%astrology.com, and this is my Rumble channel, Ancient in Chinese Astrology. I would appreciate it if you'd subscribe and follow me, and also likewise for my YouTube channel. It's been 6 months since I made a video, or 8 months actually here. Wow. And I've been researching and practicing some very hidden and rare topics that contain a lot of gems, so to say. But these gems, this wealth needs to be mined and practiced and systematized and integrated, etc., etc. So I will share some of what I've been doing in this video. The title of my video is Horoscope of a Dead Person. Are there any benefits to such a horoscope, and does death stop fate? This is a very complex and long topic. It's basically it can be examined from multiple angles. I do not claim absolute thoroughness, obviously, because such questions, they have had the interest of humans since humans were alive. This was many millennia ago, and in fact, these questions were the second part of the question: does death stop fate? It existed even before astrology existed. So this type of question has to do with eschatology, and eschatology, as you see, is the science of the end of the world, or the end times. So escha meaning the last, etc., as you see, last, and tology, this is the science of the last. So this is I don't ascribe the religious meaning to it. I'm thinking about from the perspective of the soul, not necessarily the physical world. There is a difference, because we're spiritual beings who have come here for a brief time to experience being human, and then return to the source, to our soul, and then to the source. Okay, so let's get started. As I said, this topic, I do not claim any originality. It would be preposterous, but I will give you several astrological schools and show you that they each, or not just astrological, esoteric schools, that each dealt with this, with such questions about fate, about death, etc., etc. Now, the first one is the most famous Arabic astrologer called Abu Mashar. He lived in the 9th century, and he wrote a number of books. In this book, Persian Nativities 4, let me show you the book. I've shown it before on my channel. This is my physical copy, as you see. Persian Nativities 4 on the revolutions of the years of nativities, etc., etc., translated by Ben Dykes in 2019 from the original Arabic. It's a very big book, thick book. Here is a screenshot of the back cover for the most inquisitive of my viewers. And it's a very big book. So in this book, Abu Mashar explains that the horoscope of a dead native can show events, can and does show events that pertain to the people in that native's life, to the close circle of spouse, children, etc. So we have a specific author with and he's not the only one, obviously, but he's extremely explicit here about this. How shall we say, doctrine. All right. What else? So let's see, because again, ancient astrology is the most advanced, the original astrology, and the most comprehensive astrology, etc., etc. and of course there are other astrologies, but the point is that I'm going to show you a real example of this doctrine. So Bruce Lee was a very famous martial artist and actor, Chinese, who was born in the US, and he died very young. In fact, his death is very interesting because his death is very mysterious. It remains mysterious more than 50 years after he died. So this is Bruce Lee's chart. I've rectified by 75 seconds, just very briefly. It doesn't change anything major, although it changes a specific point, but it's not pertinent to our analysis. The point is that this is the nativity of Bruce Lee, and if we want to study, this is ancient astrology. If we want to study the topic of children, we would examine the 5th house, the 10th house, the lot of spirit, and Jupiter, etc., etc. The lot of children. Sorry, this is what I mean. And we see that we have, and this is important, by the way, because this is the chart with the quadrant houses, the quadrant divisions, I should say. They're not houses. That modern astrologers would say that the south node here is in the 4th house, not in the 5th. Well, actually, it's in the 5th by ancient astrology, by whole sign houses, because the 1st house is Sag, as you see, the 2nd is Capricorn, Aquarius is the 3rd, Pisces is the 4th, and the 5th whole sign place is Aries. So from 0 Aries to 29 Aries is the 5th whole sign place, as you see, 5. So this falls here. So this is one negative. It sucks out children. It reduces the number or reduces their longevity, etc. Then we have the lot of children who is combust. This is another affliction. We have the Lord of the Lot with the malefic in a bad house, another affliction. We also have, of course, the Lord of the 5th is Mars, and Mars is in the, again, modern astrologers would say that Mars is in the 11th because Mars, this is the 11th, and this is the 12th house cusp. However, again, Scorpio is the 8th whole sign house from Aries. So Mars is, as you see, the 12th here. Mars is in the 12th. So the way I've set up the chart, it shows both the quadrant divisions and the whole sign places. Quadrant divisions are not houses, they're just sectors of power. So Mars is in the 12th. Now, someone would say, well, wait a minute, Alex, Mars is in its own domicile. Correct, but Mars is in a bad house. Mars is opposed by Saturn. So this is also a more negative than positive testimony. So the point is that from the chart of the father, Bruce Lee, we see that his son, Brandon Lee, will have a shorter life. Now, how short we cannot determine from the father's chart. And in fact, Bruce Lee, as you see, born in 1940, he died in July 73, and Brandon Lee died 20 years later. Okay, so this is the chart of Bruce Lee. Now, this is the annual chart of Bruce Lee for the year of death. So again, Bruce Lee died in 73 in July when he was 32. He had not turned 33. This is the chart, the solar revolution chart for Bruce Lee was dead almost 20 years ago, for the death of his son. So again, using the father's chart, the father who died 20 years earlier, to time the death of his son. So we see that the native was 52. Again, as you see, Bruce Lee was 1940, and this is the annual chart for 1992. He was 52, and the ascendant, the perfected ascendant, this is ancient astrology. This technique does not exist in modern astrology. The perfected ascendant came to Aries, which is the 5th whole sign house. So it activates one of the topics. It activates is children. And it comes to this south node, so it reawakens the promise, and by coming here it automatically activates Mars, and Mars is in the 12th, not in the 11th, and the 12th is the 8th from the 5th, which shows death of children. And we also see that the annual chart, returning to the annual chart, has the lot of children at 8 Aries. And this lot comes to the natal south node. The node is sucked dry. So the lot is sucked dry by the natal node. Furthermore, the Lord of the Year, the most important planet, is Mars, and it falls in the 12th, which is again the 8th from the 5th, death of a child. And we also see that children are important this year for Bruce Lee, even though he died 20 years ago, because the natal ascendant Sagittarius comes to the 5th whole sign place of the annual chart. So you see several. Furthermore, we can see that as here is the just a second. Yes, here is the Bible chart. This is so. This is the inner chart of Bruce Lee. So this is the outer. You see how it. This is it's much easier to see. This is the perfected ascendant here, Aries 52, and the annual lot of children comes to the natal south node. Okay. Furthermore, there is another activation. There was a partial solar eclipse, as you see, in December 1992, several months before Brandon Lee died. Here is proof for Brandon Lee that he died on the 31st of March 1993. So this solar eclipse has Mars at 23 Cancer, and this Mars comes to oppose the natal lot of children in the father's chart of Bruce Lee by antigen. Take a look here, it's easier to see. Mars is at just a second. This was the solar revolution. So this is the nativity. Outside is the solar revolution of Bruce Lee, and on the outermost circle is the eclipse. And the eclipse Mars is at 23, as you see, 2318 Cancer. His antigen comes to 642 Gemini, and the lot of children is at 7. So 1 degree and 10 minutes opposition by Mars. This was also presaging a malefic coming to, which is in the natal 12th, opposes the lot of children, which is the 8th from the 5th. But we don't even care about that. It's a malefic. So this is an extremely telling example. And I should say that this is valid only in ancient astrology. I mean, with tropical astrology, not with sidereal astrology. Ancient astrology is above all tropical, overwhelmingly tropical astrology. Like Indian astrology is overwhelmingly sidereal. Just as an example, the reason I'm saying this is because these antigens and contra-antigens, etc., they do not exist in the sidereal zodiac, because the sidereal zodiac is not fixed. It actually moves, and the tropical one is fixed. And the sidereal zodiac coincided with the tropical one when it came to around the 3rd century. After that, it drifted, again, depending on the perspective. From the perspective of the sidereal zodiac, the tropical one, the equinox point moves, but according to the tropical zodiac, it's actually the other way around. So the point is that there is no antigen in opposition in the sidereal zodiac since the 3rd century. And so this zodiac would have to use other configurations to show this event. Furthermore, as another ancient method is called rising times of the zodiac, of the images. Again, this is valid only in the tropical zodiac, and especially after the 3rd centuries. When the two zodiacs coincided, it was fine for the sidereal, but not now, because these rising times, they are fixed in the tropical. Basically, I showed in a video, for 2000 years they changed very, very little, whereas the sidereal zodiac, the rising times, the sidereal rising times changed a lot. So here we see that the rising times of Mars in Scorpio, as you see, Mars in Scorpio, are here are the rising times. The rising times are 37, 38. The minor years of Mars are 15. So 37 plus 15, 52.38. These are not cardinal but ordinal numbers. So 51.38 years, which comes to like 11 months earlier. It's close. It's when it's within 1 year. It's admissible. You can cross-check it with other techniques. So the point is, the Lord of the Fifth, the rising times of the Lord of the Fifth plus the minor years of this Mars. So around age 51 and something, or up to 52, there will be an event that concerns the native's child. Again, the native died 20 years ago, 73. So this is ancient astrology, folks. By the way, we can a very close look at Bruce Lee's Indian astrology chart, the Parashara branch. This is the so-called North Indian. As I showed, it's not North Indian. This is Persian actually format. This is the South Indian. This is the original Indian format. We see that, of course, this malefic is also in the fifth there as well, Ketu, and the Lord of the Fifth is with the malefic, opposed by another malefic. But we see that the D7. Let me remove this. The D7 chart has. There is the South Indian. The D7 has two malefics in the fifth, the Lord of the Lagna in the 12th. And when Brandon, his son, died, he was running Mercury, Saturn. It's more difficult to time from the natal because there are so many planets that are involved with the fifth Lord. But in the D7, both Mercury, but I mean Mercury is 17 years, and so both Mercury, the Shah, and Saturn especially, they are in the bad houses, which show loss of child. So Mercury, Saturn, and we can see. Just a second. We can see the Antara, the third level, was Ketu. Or yeah, it depending on the Anamsha, it could change because he died on the 31st of March 93. But yeah, Ketu is in the fifth with the malefic. All right, so Indian astrology also is very impressive as always. All right, so what else? Yes. Over these past few months, I had a client who contacted me about a specific service that I offer. It's called Spiritual Path and the Meaning of Life. This is a very rare service that very few astrologers, I dare say, in the world offer, because it involves examining the natal chart from a different angle, from a different perspective. It's not the usual reading of health and finances and career and marriage, etc. It's from the perspective of the spiritual path and the meaning of life. And what is pertinent, or one of the reasons I'm sharing it here, is because her son, he had died. He had died very young, like below, let's say below 30, in his mid-20s. And the mother that was who contacted me, she said that she contacted me for two reasons. One of them was to find out how well he did. She's a very spiritual woman, the mother. She's a very religious. She's a very big believer in in Christianity, in Jesus. I mean, and she's also very spiritual, not just very religious. And she does practices, etc. And she had doubts. She had doubts, and she wanted to know whether her son had been killed with magic, with occult means, occult methods, or he died in some other way. This was the second. The second thing, and as I said, the first one was how well he did in life. Did he learn, or dare I say, master his lessons while alive, and how did he fare in his earthly existence? So I will not show the horoscope of the sun because it's too private, but I will tell you that she was extremely grateful for my help for reading the chart, because she said this was like therapy to me. Thank you so much. And that she also said that for many years she sought an astrologer, but she could not find a single astrologer whom to trust. And she said, now I understand. I'm very glad to have found you. Now I understand why I could not find you years ago when my son was alive, because knowing what you know and what you specialize in, one of the topics that I specialize in is determining the length of life. And she said that you would have seen that his chart showed a short life, and I would have tried, if I would have done my best to save him, to interfere, so to say, with his fate, and etc., etc. So this is one of the reasons she said that I could not find an astrologer while my son was alive. And her son's chart showed very interesting things. Some I will share just 2-3 with you. One of them was that one of his parents has spiritual powers, not just the spiritual powers, but have to do with healing, and also with what's the word? Not just expelling, but banishing or expelling or defeating demons. I'm not kidding. This is serious topic. I will not, joke for this. This is, I'm quoting from the ancient sources. There are configurations and indications in the horoscope, in the natal horoscope, that show this, but you will not find them when you examine it from the regular perspective, from the run-of-the-mill consultation. This is again deep, delving really deep, using specific methods and points in the chart, etc., etc., and stars, etc., etc. And also, one of the primary reasons that that helped him fulfill his purpose was his mother's religious life and her philosophical views. That was something that really influenced her son. Again, I'm reading her son's chart, and the mother confirmed that. And she said that she was protecting him a lot. Another thing that the horoscope revealed, because was that he was very subject to the evil eye, and she was protecting him. He wore crystals. She did some. She mentioned other methods like specific paintings, etc., etc. And he escaped death on several occasions. And in fact, he could have died when he was a baby. I mean, at the moment of birth, because she said that she suffered some hemorrhage, the mother, etc., etc. So this was extremely helpful to her, and she was very, very grateful, as I said. And so for the reason I'm sharing it is to say that it's amazing when the life has ended, and you can be as objective as you can be, and say, so question, did he do this? Yes. Did he do it well? Very well. Did he do this? Did he fulfill this? Was he able to accomplish this? Yes, yes, yes. So it was very impressive, I dare say, for such a young age to have accomplished like 90% or more of his. Obviously, again, understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying everything's predetermined. No, but the major things, of course, they are, and I'm talking about the major lessons. The main things by far. Did he have a girlfriend that's a musician or that's very much into music? Did they separate because of this or that? Etc., etc. And also about what she asked about whether the reason for his death had to do with magic or some hidden means. There were actually indications for this in the chart. Again, you will not find this in any modern astrological book of the past at least 150 years, if not more, if not centuries. You have to go back lots of centuries. I'm using, again, ancient astrology. And yes, there were indications for this, specific indications in his chart that did show this, but the main cause of her son's death was not that. It was, how shall I say it? He died. The main cause was that he died from an experimental jab. Let's put it this way. I'm sure you understand what I mean for the period after 2020, 2021 onwards. This is what he actually died from. He did not die right away. He was hospitalized on a number of occasions, etc., etc., and this was it. This was his choice. I mean, to take this experimental treatment, which was later taken off the taken off the shelves, etc., etc. So this was very eye-opening consultation for the mother, and she said, "This is, I cannot believe that ancient astrology can show so much." Then she wanted to know what her own spiritual life and meaning of life, spiritual path and meaning of life is for her, and in relation to her son. Her chart, because every chart is different, her chart was extracted even more information, and I would rather not go into it because it's some of the things are. But anyhow, that's not. And also, then she wanted from her husband's chart to see, and it showed connections on the soul level between the three of them and many other things. But the point is that to answer the question, are there any benefits to the horoscope of a dead person? Yes, there are many benefits. The most major benefit is the meaning of life and the spiritual path. This benefit of watching for the developments in that dead natives, watching for developments in that developments in the life that are close to this native. So of the children, of the spouse, of the siblings or of the friends. This is a secondary benefit, but it's far weaker, because again, you would be looking from an astrological point of view. You'd be looking from a secondary window or secondary lens, so to say, secondary magnifying glass, so to say, because all these people, they have their separate fates and separate charts. So you'd still get some accurate information, definitely, but still it is some benefit. So I have asked that major question. All right. Yes. Next, I want to show you that this topic is, as I said, all cultures are very interested in death, have rituals, etc. And this is from the perspective of the Chinese system, Chinese metaphysics. Again, I'm specializing in ancient and Chinese astrology. And Shao Kangjie, he lived in the 11th century. I've spoken about him before. He was one of the most famous Chinese metaphysicians. He worked in the imperial court, but he wanted to retire early so he could devote himself to metaphysics. And he said, he wrote in his book, by the way, this is, if you're interested more about this, I have a very long and very thorough article about this method, Plum Blossom Numerology, known as Mei Hua Yi Shu, or just I Ching Numerology. I wrote this article back 5 years ago, and as you see, the content, etc. And so Shao Kangjie, he wrote that even demons and spirits are subject to the law of numbers. So this is, and also he explains, and not just himself, by the way, my main teacher of Indian astrology, Simon Chukoski, he explained some principles of Vedic cosmology. I don't remember all the parts, but basically confirming this. The gist of the matter is that you cannot divine, you cannot predict, speaking of horary astrology, answer to specific questions, or I Ching or Tarot, or the divination branch. You cannot predict unless there is movement. When there is stillness, which is in, you can there is no movement. When there is movement, when movement arises in the consciousness, in the mind, then you can predict. And this is why he says, Shao Kangjie says that if demons and spirits that can eavesdrop on humans, they can do that when people do not have protection, or people are, have punctured auras, etc. But the point is that if a human has no thoughts, even demons, spirits, they cannot eavesdrop. They cannot, because there are no thoughts. What are you going to hear? So you have to have this stillness. When you have movement, when you have a desire to know, when the consciousness is active, when etc. You are agitated, or impatient, or something, you want to know something, you're fidgety, then you can then everyone is subject, even demons and spirits are subject to the law of numbers. So very impressive, because such quotes are not easy to find, believe me. I mean, in many books, most of the books are either entirely philosophical, theoretical, or extremely practical. You have to dig and dig, but this is very very precious. Furthermore, there is a great book called The Consultation Chart by Wanda Seller. Let me show you my copy of the book. This is the book. I bought this many years ago. Great picture, very beautiful, very very pure. And for those that want to know the back cover, here you can make a screenshot to see what it is about. Basically, this book was written in 2000. Basically, I want to leave the picture because it's so beautiful, the front cover. Basically, this consultation chart is erected for the moment when the client comes to visit the astrologer. It's again, as she says, this is not original. This is at least 1,000 years old, or actually more, because they're sources, ancient sources, that have to do with, for example, Benjamin Dykes has a book called The Search for the Heart, that have to do with, the Asians were big on this, were very interested, all cultures, have to do with determining the thoughts of the querent. Kings love to do it. What I'm thinking about, what am I holding in my hand, hidden objects or hidden thoughts, what am I, guess, I want to predict. Many such cases in Perso-Arabic world, in the Indian world, in the Chinese world. And the reason I'm saying this is because I'm showing this impressive book is because again, I bought this many years ago. I don't remember, 12 years old. It doesn't, over 10 years ago, that's for sure. And maybe 15. But the point is that at least in one of the cases, there may be more, but at least one I remember well, is that there is a case where a woman, I believe it was a woman, who came to the author, Wanda Seller, who is an astrologer, and she asked about a dead relative. Now, someone is going to say, that's impossible, you can't do that, that's no, that's absurd. Astrology, the horoscope, once you die, that's it, death stops fate. Do not be quick to react. Only fools or ignorant people reject something outright without studying it in depth. If you have seen the movie The Matrix, as the architect said to Neo, denial is the most what was the phrase? Denial is the most predictable of all human responses. So do not deny. It is possible. Again, this is not modern astrology, but the point is that this in this book, The Consultation Chart, this client asked about some dead relative, and her question was sincere. She was not doing it to test the astrologer, so to say. And the chart, of course, reflected what the querent wanted to know. And Wanda Seller, the author, she started telling details about this dead relative. And again, as a genuine astrologist, she did not know anything, and she said, is this true, and she said, yes, this is true, yes, while he was alive he did this, so now he was with this, etc. It is possible, because again, death does not stop fate. And again, the quote, even demons and spirits are subject to the law of numbers. We can call it the law of numbers or the law of astrology, same thing basically, but same, they're sisters. And this Shao Kanji, he says that they're numerical codes, numerical representations of love, of sadness, of unhappiness, of good fortune, of bad fortune, of disappointment, of sorrow, etc., etc. Same thing in astrology. Obviously, it's just again from not with numbers, or trigrams, hexagrams, but with planetary configurations. All right. What else? Yes. So the question arises: where does the spirit go after death? This is the representation that I've selected from my one of my favorite websites. Not this one, that one, Pixabay, and free pictures that I always show and express my gratitude, of course. And so this is, as you see, like an hourglass clock that measures something. We can say that this is, again, this is my interpretation. This is the spiritual part, this is the physical body, this is the spiritual essence or something. But the point is that this is finite. This is finite, as is our stay in the physical world. Because we're not humans, we're spiritual beings that have come to experience being human and then move on. Hopefully not to get addicted here, as many do. And these rays that come from outside, from some higher dimension, higher density, not dimension, they recall, so to say. So you here temporarily and then you go back. So where does so speaking of spirit and soul, so there is a difference that you should know. Spirit is the part that animates the human body. Without a spirit, or the animal body, although the animal spirits are different than human spirit, spirit is the part that animates the body. Without the spirit, no body can live. So I'm not getting into clones and etc. and others. But the point is that spirit is only a small part of the soul. Another name for the soul is the higher self. In fact, I prefer higher self. So spirit will ultimately return after the physical body dies, the shell, the bodysuit. You're left with your spirit, your own self, and then you will return to the soul, but not right away. You have to shed all that you have, all the baggage that you have accumulated while on earth. And so where does the spirit go after death? Well, this is not an easy question. There are many authors, many schools. The short answer is that it goes to the astral planes, of course, but the astral planes are so numerous. But I'm treading carefully here because, I'm a professional astrologer and diviner, and I treat astrology as a high science, and that what I say I want to present, with sources. And here is where the horoscope ends to a large extent, not fully, but ends to a large extent. Now, ancient astrology, my main astrology, there are several sources. The main one is called, mentioned this. The main one is called Rhetorius the Egyptian, who was an Egyptian astrologer who lived in the 6th century, most likely, possibly in the 7th, but more likely in the 6th. And in his book, he says that the 12th whole sign house, which is the 12th sign from the ascendant, this house has to do with what the soul does before incarnating. This house has to do with situations before the birth, so around the mother, etc. But he also says that this whole sign house the 12th one has to do with the Greek word is metakosmios, which means between worlds. So this 12th whole sign house is between worlds. However, he says that for all the declining whole sign houses, which are the 12th, the 9th, the 12th sign from the ascendant, the 9th sign counting inclusively, the 6th sign and the 3rd sign. Of course, we can also add the second. The second is the gate of Hades, the god of death in Greek mythology. But the point is that ancient astrologers, as far as I know, and then I have pretty much almost all translations of the classics, they're not that big into this, honestly. I mean, I could not. There may be some separate manuscripts that possibly deal with this, but with the rise of Christianity and other organized monotheistic religions, this topic was basically culture cancelled, or basically was heavily suppressed, because the church wanted to maintain monopoly over the soul, as I've explained, as history shows. However, the Indian astrology, specifically the Parashara branch, one of my videos that I did was a brief history of Indian astrology here, that you can see on my YouTube channel and on my Rambo channel. This video, in it I examined the major classical Indian astrology sources, specifically the Parashara branch, but there were some others for Gemini. The point is that in some of these sources there are chapters that deal specifically with this, namely where the spirit goes after death. What happens? Now, I should preface this by saying that I'm discussing, what the authors are teaching and discussing is the NATO branch. In other words, there is a difference, because this woman in the consultation chart book, she asked a specific question. She did not, and this is traditional astrology. It was not Indian astrology. The author is, very few astrologers combine, so-called Western astrology and Indian astrology, and even fewer combine these plus Chinese astrology, like I do. But the point is that here a horary question was asked, a specific questions about the situation of that female querent's dead a relative. I don't remember. I apologize. It was an uncle or a father. I don't remember. You can. I recommend that you buy the book, of course, support the author's work, and if you're interested in this topic, and find out. Now, whereas with Indian astrology, they give specific rules and interpretations based on the natal horoscope. So depending on the natal horoscope that the soul has chosen, goes to incarnate as a spirit on earth, and then after the death of the physical body, the spirit, prior to returning to the soul, has to go through these realms. Again, each culture has some differences in the spiritual worlds, but in terms of Indian astrology, they give these lots of rules. So it is possible. Again, I'm reluctant to do this, and I've done this, but only after people asked. You will not find this anywhere on my website. It's not. For those that have been watching my videos, my motto, so to say. I'm not doing this to make money. It's not to take someone's money and to do something. The point is to help. And I'm reluctant to offer this, because I cannot prove that. Whereas with the other branches, with what I'm offering, you will find out the veracity of my words, how accurate they are, whether they're not, to what extent they are, rather. For example, with getting back to the spiritual path and meaning of life, I told her, your son did this is true or not? Your son did this and that and this and that. She said, yes, for the most part that's accurate, or that's not, etc. We could confirm that, and that's the real benefit, to see that this works. This was, there is a reason this survived for so many centuries. Whereas this knowledge here, for where the spirit goes after death, she can't come back after she dies. So for example, there was someone that contacted me about and asked me about this. Can you do this? Can you calculate this for me? Can you determine where I will go after I die? I said I could, but I explained. But she said, I'll be very grateful. Tell me how much it costs. I will, if you do it for me. And I did it. These are exceptions. If someone insists, if someone is, depressed or thinking about suicide or something, if someone is really down, etc., or someone is contemplating their demise or something, or thinking about, what will happen after, then, only then. Other than that, that's why, again, I have not published this as a separate service, and this is not something that I do often. So this also, from a different perspective, this Indian knowledge, Indian astrology knowledge, also answers the question: does death stop fate? Well, no, it doesn't, because if the natal chart can show whether the spirit will go after death, and this was pre-selected, pre-chosen, then how can death stop fate? It cannot. What I would say is that it can. It will not work exactly in the same way, because the human body has died. So the major part has occurred already of the life of the earthly existence, but the earthly existence continues after the body dies, because the spirit has not returned yet to the soul. So I hope this was instructional and useful for you. If so, I would appreciate it if you subscribe, if you like the video, or also if you subscribe for my Rambo channel. As I said, this is a very deep topic, eschatology. I do not claim thoroughness, and there are many things more that I can say, but to tell you honestly, I'm not that comfortable in continuing, because for example, I will just mention one of them. For example, that there are people that yes, the fear of death is the biggest fear, that's no secret, but there are people that are very financially wealthy, or that are old, and that they want to postpone death. They want to do everything that they can to do that, and they're looking for methods to do that, but these methods are very dark. These methods have to do with someone has to pay the price. I believe you know what I mean. Someone has to be robbed of their vitality, so that this vitality could be transferred. There are specific traditions and methods and techniques about this. I don't want to go further. I believe you understand how unethical and how dangerous this can be, and what consequences and implications it has. So this topic is very deep, and I would rather stop here. What I've given enough should suffice for now. I'm not, again, YouTube is very public. The whole world can watch this, and I prefer not to. There's some, I do not, by the way, for those that I'm sure you're aware, but I do not condone and support any such methods. I do not take part of this. I'm a professional astrologer who has very strict ethics, and I reserve the right to reject any client as I see fit, if that violates my principles. And I've published on my website. I believe. Was it on my native Bulgarian website? I've published my principles that I stand by. So again, I hope this was instructional for you. You will see if in case this is the title speaking about death is uncomfortable for some of you, just skip the video if you have something that and that's off-putting to you. Other than that, again, this is one of the topics that's very dear to me, and that's I'm one of the few astrologers that deals with calculating the length of life. And again, these past few months I've had not just with this woman and her son and her husband, I've had other experiences and practices, etc. So that's, I thought I would share this. Again, this is my channel. If you have a question or a comment that's related to this topic, I would appreciate it. If it's a question, I will reply to you as soon as I can. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you found this instructional. Again, sorry, I forgot. For those that want to know more that are interested in this, there are two more books that I can recommend. One of them is called Shamanism by as you see, Archaic Techniques of Ecstasy by Mircea Eliade, who was a Romanian scientist. Scholar. This book was written in 1951, as you see here, and it was in French, and was published in 1964 in English, as you see, by Bollinger Series by Princeton. This is my second-hand copy. This man, incredible man, he traveled all over the world, and I believe I may have mentioned this book on my channel before. He spent time with shamans of all continents and studied their beliefs, their about death, about not just about life, their rituals, their etc., etc., their customs, and very, very. There is a book about death, of course, because and also another book. This book is, I would say, somewhat famous, in fact, but this one is not. This one took me. I was very fortunate to find this book. It's called The Soul and Native Americans by Ake Houtkrantz. Again, for the inquisitive ones, this is the back cover. You can make a screenshot and read. And the author Ake Houtkrantz, he was a professor emeritus of ethnology and religion at the Uppsala University, the oldest and most distinguished university in Scandinavia. So another scholar, another one who is, I would say, honest, impartial, and follows the scientific approach of studying, being objective and doing your job for the benefit of society. So great book. The ancient Indians, unfortunately, the Native Americans, most of them were either wiped out or subjugated by very brutal representatives of the white race. Unfortunately, very shameful deeds, extremely brutal. So this was it from me. Thank you for watching. All the best to you, and I hope to I will make another video on another topic very soon, which I will publish most likely next week. Thank you. See you next time.